In the last reading I did, I felt like I was not able to communicate something that is actually very, very important. I mentioned that we are in a period of time where people that are codependent might start to experience more conflict in their external realities to help them become more aware of certain things about themselves that they have not been able to be aware of before. In retrospect, I realized that that sentence can sound quite mean and hurtful if you associate codependency with something negative. And that is why I wanted to make clear that in my mind, in my opinion, codependency is not bad. It's way more complex than just good or bad. Codependency is actually such a natural part of our growth cycle. And specifically, it's the child part of us that is codependent. If you look at any child, they need a mirror to be able to really build their brain in an optimal way. It is something about human nature, human consciousness, that we need to be seen. We need to be understood, to be reflected, to be able to actually build our own inner capacity to see, to understand, and to reflect the truth of who we really are back to ourselves. And that is really the textbook definition of codependency, needing someone else to be able to know who we are, creating our own identity based on others. Yet it is such an essential part of being a child. And so the danger then becomes that if our mind is associating codependency with something bad and something unwanted, then we might have a tendency to cast our inner child out of our consciousness altogether. And if we do that, then several things will happen. First of all, it's almost as if our consciousness, our light, is no longer life-giving. It is like our inner eye becomes too judgmental to understand how to care for, how to hold space for things that are not yet mature, things that have potential, things that are natural, real, and not fake, glossy, and perfect. And if our consciousness only has room for perfection, then the only energy that can really help us change is the energy of death. Then we need to experience loss, falling, breaking apart of something to actually be able to stop and listen. With that kind of a mindset, it's almost as if we do not have the capacity to change through growth. Because if our consciousness, our inner eye, cannot accept the natural vibration of a child, if our mind cannot accept the codependent nature of our inner child, then how can we support our inner child to grow? We won't be able to. We lose the capacity to learn how to heal ourselves, how to help ourselves, how to stand by ourselves in times of distress. And this is really the curse of patriarchy, that we can only learn from things that are already perfect. This is what causes us to abandon our inner children, because they were not good enough for our eye, because our mind has become incapable of accepting the natural. So I think it's very important to be aware of this. Do not fear your codependency. Do not fear this inner desire to have a mirror, to have a twin flame, someone that sees you fully and loves you unconditionally. For many of us, this experience is part of our time. It is part of our healing, learning how to build our love from within and find ourself. In many ways, I feel that this desire for a mirror is our inner nature speaking to us, guiding us, telling us what we need, telling us that our brain, the part of the brain that is associated with our inner child, it was not able to reach its full potential back when we were children. We were not fully mirrored. We were not living in a time where our caregivers, our teachers, our authority figures were able to see us as guides, as divine beings, beings holding the light of the future. Maybe they saw us only as a child, as something that is to be taught, not good enough yet, something that is to be raised into a better form, not celebrated and understood through the magic of its current form. I think that that was the case for most of us. And that means that most of us did not build brains that became able to reflect our own divinity, our own guidance back to ourselves either. For many of us, that part of our brain has been a black hole our entire life. And so this deep desire to have a mirror, to be seen, it is not bad at all. It is all natural, a reflection of a potential. And if you allow your inner eye to explore that, to look at your own needy, vulnerable, codependent inner child with compassion and care instead of judgment and fear, I think that new portals inside your consciousness will begin to open for you. I know it did for me. And when that happens, we gain the opportunity to begin to deal with and transmute more and more karma through our inner worlds. If we are able to accept the immature within, then we can learn from it, figure out how to give it what it lacks before that shadow of unmet needs manifests into our external world. Because the thing is, nature, it needs what it needs. It is real, not fake. We cannot change needs just by changing their label, just by running away from them, pretending that they're not a part of us. These feelings inside, these inner states, they are ourselves speaking to us. They are a part of us, even if we block their voices out of our mind. They do not go away because they are our life, our foundation. And that is why it is when we fear and judge codependency that we have the hardest time learning how to nurture that immaturity from within, because we block it out of our mind. So teach your mind how to not fear codependency so much. It's okay to be codependent. It is a part of us all. It's our inner nature, part of how a child grows. So I just wanted to mention that. Please don't chase away your inner child, because this is the part of us that is linked to the light of the future. And I think that we all deserve to see how magical we are, even when we are not trying to be anything at all. So take care, guys. Bye.